Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Obey Giraffe. My 27 female boyfriend, 33 male, had his ex answer his phone and tell me that she's his girlfriend. I'm not sure where to start with this. I never thought I would post here. I've been a wreck and I guess I'm just going to vent. A lot has happened, but I'll try to keep it short. I've been dating my boyfriend for about a year. We met at work and started dating. Things were casual at first, but during New Year's we had a conversation about being exclusive, and for me, the relationship was exclusive. He unofficially started living with me around 7 months ago, and we were pretty much spending all of our free time and work time together. Fast forward to now. We spent the entire weekend with his friends and family. On Sunday, we went out with his friends and were having a great time. We left the bars with a couple of his friends, and during the drive, one of the girls there gave him a pill and he took it. This made me uncomfortable because he didn't know what that pill was before taking it. His friend said she wasn't sure what kind of pill it was, and right now he is on antibiotics. When we got home, I told him that taking the pill made me uncomfortable. His response was basically, "I've known her longer than I've known you. I trust her. Stop trying to control me." We were both drunk, but there wasn't yelling, and I wasn't trying to control him. I wanted him to know that I wasn't comfortable, and he was angry. Within minutes, he grabbed his stuff and left. I called and texted, but no answer. Maybe 15 minutes later, I called again and a girl answered. It was his ex. "Hi, this is Alana, his girlfriend." She called me pathetic for thinking I was in a relationship with him and let me know that they were about to sleep together. I was and am at a complete loss. I walked to the beach and spent what felt like hours sitting on the sand, ugly crying and scrolling through our pictures. This entire year, he and I have been a couple. I've met his family, extended family, and friends. My parents are visiting this weekend and they expect to meet him. I don't know what to think, let alone say to them. My eyelids are swollen from crying. I didn't go to work and I didn't want to talk to him. I've been trying to put a bed together for the past 3 hours, maybe, and have spent the last hour huddled in between the half-put-together frame and bawling. I can't help but think he's maintained some kind of a relationship with her throughout our own relationship. Why else would he go straight to her as soon as we have some sort of a disagreement? I don't even know what I'm asking here. I don't think that this is something that we can come back from, and I have to see him at work tomorrow. My cat is acting anxious because I'm anxious, and this just sucks. I love the guy. I didn't know that he could be capable of this. Well, OP, as you say, of course this sucks, but please do not spend time or do not spend energy trying to figure out if this has been a long-term thing or a one-day thing. Cheating is cheating. It doesn't matter if it was 10 years or a minute. You need to do whatever you can to work through getting over this guy and moving on with your life. He's not worth having in your life. Now, regarding your parents, I would tell them the truth, that you found out in a very hard way what his true character was like and that the relationship is over, that it's not even necessary for them to meet the guy or talk about him because he's out of your life and he's not going to come back. Another thing, I wouldn't risk losing my job over this guy. Go to work. He's the one that was in the wrong. He's the one that did the horrible thing. You shouldn't be ashamed of this. He should. But of course, if this makes your life too complicated, maybe you need to start looking for another place to work. I wouldn't do that because, well, it sucks that you need to run away from somebody who sucks like this, somebody who was in the wrong. But if you can't work through it, then maybe that's a step. And as for him, block him everywhere. Number, email, social media, everything. Get him out of your life and do not let him entice you into getting back together or giving you some sort of lame explanation just because you love him. The person you met, the person you love, doesn't really exist because you don't love a cheater. He's a cheater. And what do you guys think about this situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Remember Coombe Valley says, God, could you imagine being her? Could you imagine knowing that the only worth you had in the life of the man you loved was as his weapon against someone else? She's not the one who spent the weekend with his family. You are. Can you imagine being so weak a person that you take the dry rinds of someone else's relationship? I'm sorry that this is so hard. What a crappy person he is. I'm grateful that you found out before getting pregnant or engaged though, and that you're not someone like his ex. Breakups are hard. This one's going to have a couple more steps to it. What do you mean by unofficially living together? Does he maintain his own residence? Because if not, you might need to evict him legally. Try to get sleep tonight, eat an okay meal, drink water, put the lights low, and rest as best you can. In the morning, wash your face with cool water, put your hair up, and go into work like a soldier. If he tries to talk to you, just concentrate on your work. If he doesn't, all the better. And OP responds, wow, I can't tell you how surprised I am at all of these responses. I've read yours in particular over and over again. She used to call him from a blocked number often. He would tell me that she's just trying to reach him and I have nothing to worry about. She would always be there at a whim if he wanted. He told me that a bit ago during an argument when I brought up that the number of times she reaches out to him makes me uncomfortable. To answer your question, he was always at my apartment for weeks at a time. He would go home to grab clothes or whatever he needed. He lives with family, but thinking about it, I never saw where he lived. I made sure to wake up with plenty of time to put myself together. I did my hair, cried on the way to work, but I'm in the office and working, so I'll consider it a win for the day. I haven't had any appetite since Sunday, but I think today I'm going to pick up ice cream, the comfort food I like, and try to eat. Omega 037 says, you loved the person you thought he was, but as it turns out, that person didn't exist. The person he actually was is someone who takes random pills at parties and thinks the proper way to deal with a fight is to cheat on you and go out of his way to hurt you as much as possible. Think about that for a minute. Having his ex answer the phone the way she did wasn't normal. He purposely caused it to happen to maximize the amount of pain he could cause you. Knowing that, is he really someone you would want to be friends with, much less date? Is he really worth being this upset over? I know it still hurts, but in the long term, I think you are going to be relieved that this happened and wish you had known who he was sooner so that you didn't waste so much time with him. Panda Pandemonium says, it sucks. I'm sorry he was such a douche to you, but in the end, he's a selfish a-hole who you are much better without. A year is a long time though, so don't feel bad about mourning the loss. He's not the guy you thought he was, so in a way, you're not mourning him, but the man you thought he was. Do whatever you need to do to get through the emotional roller coaster of letting go and moving on. Cry as much as you need to, hibernate under the duvet with ice cream, or go out partying with your girlfriends and have a rebound kiss with a hot stranger, whatever it takes. Usually, the best course of action is to completely block him from your life. Block his number, his email, Facebook, that's what I said. And try to forget he ever existed. But of course, you'll see him at work. However, you can pretty much ignore his existence. Make it clear you have no interest in talking to him and would like to just get on with your job in peace. Let your pride take over here. Why give him the satisfaction of seeing how much he has hurt you? There are no excuses for what he did, and no way, even if he wholeheartedly apologized, that you would be able to forget that it happened. So in a way, you don't need anything from him for closure. So there's no point in talking to him at all. All he can do at this point is hurt you even more with either pathetic excuses or painful indifference. Just keep reminding yourself that in the long run, this is a good thing. You are now free to find someone who deserves your love, no matter how painful it is right now. In time, you will be so much happier than you would be if you had stayed with the kind of a-hole that pulls this crap. Additional information from OP. I'm definitely going to enjoy every minute that my parents are here. My dad will happily binge on comfort food and ice cream with me. I'll also tell them I learned about his true character and ended things. It sucks. The afternoon right before this all happened, I was sending my parents photos of him and me, telling them about what we are up to and that I was so excited for them to meet him this weekend. My mom has been especially looking forward to meeting him. Haven't had the guts to pick up the phone and tell them that it isn't going to happen anymore. Alright, well, the community agrees, of course, that this whole situation sucks for OP, but that this shouldn't stop her from living her life, that she needs to do what she can to get him out of her life and keep moving forward. And OP understands this, but also she's kind of upset that she won't get to introduce him to her parents, which of course was something she was looking forward to. So at this point, it's time to move on with the update to see what happened next and how the story ends, but of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on with that update. Quite a bit of time has passed since my last post. I wasn't going to post an update, but this has been weighing on my mind, so I may as well. And in case anyone doesn't want to read anymore, the relationship is over. After the last post, we reconciled. Aww. The same situation happened again the day after Christmas while I was visiting family in another state. I was having a difficult time with my family. A lot of arguments. It was like everyone got together for the holiday to lash out at each other. At one point, while we, boyfriend and I, were on the phone, I had an attitude with him, which stemmed from the argument I had with my family. After we got off the phone, I sent him a text apologizing and didn't hear from him at all. He had gone to his ex's and they answered the phone together when I called. She ended up texting me from her phone about how pathetic and ugly I was and I should end myself. I understand how ridiculous this sounds, and where's my self-respect, right? I have been so in love with this dude that I couldn't see straight, and he made every single instance feel like it was my fault. For a long time, I didn't look at how terrible of a human he actually was being. I really believed, because he told me, that something I did was the reason why he would continue to cheat on me. Even after the Christmas situation, I still took him back. I still believed him when he said he was sorry. After everything he said and did, he ended up spending New Year's with her. This went back and forth until recently. I would go no contact and block him for a few weeks, and then he would show back up and be sweet and attentive. Then a week or two later, he would disappear for a few days and then come back. It made it much more difficult to stay away from him because I ended up getting pregnant and having a miscarriage. And that took a larger emotional toll on me than expected. But now I have him blocked and I don't feel the need to reach out to him or have him with me as much. Honestly, I think he was maintaining a relationship with me and her at the same time. Not to mention how many explicit text conversations I've seen with at least 3 girls besides the girl mentioned. Also, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, OP. And it's honestly the saddest birthday I've ever had. I cancelled the dinner and brunch that my friends had planned for me this weekend and stayed inside, thinking I was going to be productive and work. I ended up sleeping and watching Netflix on and off, just wallowing in sad. I should have definitely gone out with friends instead. I have been seeing a therapist for about a year. I want to be happy again. I feel like this person enjoyed taking advantage of how much I loved him and completely scraped at my self-esteem until I felt like I couldn't be without him. Maybe I am a bit angry, but I think he enjoyed it. Lastly, there was a lot of advice in my last post, much of which I was too emotional at the time to respond to. But I read them hundreds of times, and one that keeps ringing for me is by user Remember Coombe Valley. Quote, God, could you imagine being her? Could you imagine knowing that the only worth you had in the life of the man you loved was as his weapon against someone else? End quote. That's not the kind of person I want to be. So I hope I can actually learn from this and grow into a better person. I don't know. Thank you for reading. OP's edit. This is where I'm at. I'll have a good day followed by a not so great one. I'll think I have myself together and then I'll spend a day at work staring at the computer and not working. It's taking such a huge toll on my emotional self and self-esteem. I keep rereading all your comments though. Reading all your stories of how you guys overcame cheaters and a-holes is really inspiring. I know that I'm not okay yet, but I'm working hard on getting there. Thank you all for the support. Wow, OP, I'm so sorry that this guy put you through all of that. You went through hell, and hopefully, with the help of maybe a professional and your support network, friends, and family, you can work through all of that and get to a better place. One thing you need to understand, OP, is that you do not need to work to be a better person. That's something he should do. You need to work on getting yourself better. So here's wishing you all the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing, and please take care. Now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post, as I definitely need one. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Sponiac94. You demand that we honor your reservation? Sure thing. A few years back, I worked at one of the big car rentals in a rather small city in Germany. We had two offices, one in the outskirts with quite a sizable lot and a very small one at the train station. 4 official parking spots in front of the office and about 6 parking spots at the other end of the train station at the staff parking lot. We used to not get into trouble for using parking spots we didn't pay for. That was a bit of a prestige thing because it enabled us to serve our business customers right when they got off the train. Both offices worked closely together, even sharing a vehicle pool within the booking software, and we were expected to move the cars around accordingly. The business at the train station followed a pattern that would repeat every week. Every Monday, business customers would arrive by train, pick up their car to go see their clients during the week, and drop them off by the end of the week to leave by train again. Most would drop the car off on Thursday. One week, we could already see disaster approaching by the middle of the previous week. Due to some error in the booking software and some cars spontaneously not returning to our offices, our carpool stood at -60 for Monday at the train station office. See, that's not unusual on a Monday. The problem was that overall our shared carpool stood at -15. Since we are quite small and only a franchise of the car rental company, there was no way we would get extra cars from bigger stations. So we started trying to reach out to business customers to inform them that we most likely couldn't serve all reservations and if we could maybe cancel on them. Some understood while some insisted, and even more were not available when we tried to contact them. On Friday, my supervisor asked me if I could cover the shift at the train station office on Monday because she knew the colleague who was supposed to would mentally break if yelled at by customers. I knew it would be hell, but knowing that she might have the morning shift at the main office, we were sure we could make it work somehow. I asked to also work on Sunday at the train station office to make sure all cars were ready for the next day, since we had around 70 reservations between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. that day. So I worked my Sunday shift, got everything prepared as far as I could, and went home. On Monday, we opened at 6 a.m. I got in at 5:30 like always, and there was already a small line queued up in front of the door. I told them we didn't open until 6 and they accepted it. Everything went sort of smoothly until about 8:30 a.m. All my cars were gone and I received a somewhat steady supply of cars from the main office until then. I constantly kept my supervisor updated with a list of my reservations and which cars from the main office I'd like to have for that, and she tried to make it work. Then she called me to tell me that she was also out of cars, since some had to be off-fleeted due to mileage or simply not returning. I knew everything would go to shambles after that, and mentally prepared for it. I started telling customers that we couldn't possibly serve their reservations. Most understood due to the fact that I didn't have any cars in front of my office, but a few insisted that they get their cars. Cue malicious compliance. I called my supervisor and told her that some clients insisted on getting a move on, now and no matter how. After some short venting on her side, we came up with an idea. We might not have any cars anymore, but we had an incredible excess of moving vans, Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, Volkswagen Crafter, and such, that we didn't really need any of. Now, the train station office isn't supposed to rent out vans, but we found a workaround for that. The transfer drivers had a company car that could be rented out, so I checked it in at my station, created the rental agreement with that, switched my view to the main office, and initiated a vehicle switch. I did all of this without ever having a physical car at my station, so the rental agreement was completed and the transfer drivers started bringing our white company branded moving vans down to my office. I even told one specially insisted customer that I was able to fulfill his wish for an automatic transmission diesel. I will never forget the look on the face of this suit wearer when he realized he would be driving in on a moving van to see his client. The train station office satisfaction rating took quite a beating after this, but we didn't really care about that since we rarely got bonuses down there anyway. Well, OP, they asked you to solve their problem there and no matter how, and you did. They wanted transportation, they got transportation. And I had to say, I had to rent one of those vans really recently because of moving, and I had a lot of fun driving it. I had never driven one before. I was a bit scared at the beginning because, dimensions and I didn't want to hit another car, but then I was driving in the highway and I was having a lot of fun. Anyways, thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.